Tracey, and it's time for tea. More tips and taboos. Did you ever want to be a boy?
When I was growing up, I had just as many guy friends as I did female friends, and I never thought that boys got so blinkered as they got older from racing them to the top of the trees and we'd be hanging out on the playground together. Like, I was such a tomboy, and I feel like at some stage of me growing up, because I was so boyish, part of me probably did have that sort of mindset, should I be a boy because I like boy things? Because I like to wear trainers and not like cute little pretty flats with flowers on. Like, there was probably some confusion there when I was younger, but that's just, in general, you're discovering yourself when you're growing up. I was sort of noticing, I don't like the same things that the other girls do, is that wrong? But then again, that's just society's expectations of you. Like, girls are meant to wear pink, girls should have braids in their hair. But now I feel we're being a lot more open to the idea of I could probably walk out in guys' clothes and I probably wouldn't get judged. Might, by some people. Don't get me wrong, but like, we have very androgynous looking women, men in media, actors, models and all that jazz. But yeah, when I was younger, I probably did have that mindset, because, there was this expectation that if I was a girl, I should dress, feminine. And the thing is, like, I feel that there's a lot of separation and there's this taboo of, like, women's talk and guys' talk. Do you feel that as well? There's a taboo around, like, the sexes. Like, we're just talking girl stuff. Guys can't be involved. No, we're talking girl stuff. And I'm thinking, well, maybe it's a good thing that the opposite sex should engage in these conversations more.
I suppose maybe because I was raised in the 1970s, mention a period to a boy and then it'll bloody hell break loose.
Yeah, exactly. And I was talking about the other day at school, I was talking about contraception. And I was talking about contraception to the girls, and I was just openly talking about it, and I could feel the guys feeling awkward in the room, and I'm thinking, but why should there be any awkwardness here? Why is there awkwardness? Why is there tension around sex, contraception? Maybe if we engaged in, girl talk or guy talk more, then we'd be able to understand each other better. Exactly. I do feel that there are certainly more opportunities for women nowadays, but don't get me wrong, like, I probably wouldn't be an engineer or anything like that, but that's just me personally. But I do love that more women are being introduced into these fields more, engineering, construction, plumbing, and that's something that probably wouldn't have been as accepted.
They had a tendency to think that if a woman wanted to do it, she had to be lesbian.
Exactly.
The sexual revolution was supposed to sort of like do it for us.
The sexual revolution is quite a vague, genuine term. Break it down.
Basically, the 1960s, I was a kid. The age of the hippies and summer of love and free love, and the women were all over the place. Giving it out for free, First time sort of like women felt it was okay to burn their bras and bare their tits in public. This generation think that Pussy Riot did it first.
What was it like for you growing up in the 70s?
Well, at certain stages through my life, I kind of like wanted to be a boy. I mean, my dad wanted boys, my mother wasn't, she got 2 girls. And my dad was sort of like conflicted because he kind of like treated me like a boy.
Yeah.
But I was pretty boyish anyway, so it wasn't too much of a problem. I was the daughter. Got to look pretty, got to be a girl, certain things are expected of you. I was expected to get married and have grandchildren. Of course, when my dad turned around and told me that, I was like, what the frack? No. So I went out and tried my hand at everything,
Yeah.
I mean, I remember getting into the computer industry and getting kicked out on my ass because, I was a girl.
Really?
I couldn't do that kind of job. Yeah, so I went into marketing.
So you actually got kicked out because they didn't feel that you were adequate? Because
and that was the 1980s. I mean, I was your age when that was happening. In the 1980s in South Africa. I mean, we know they're behind the times most of the time. But, I mean, my ex-husband turned around to me and says, all girls are secretaries. I mean, really?
Yeah.
Great, fine, granted, I'm a brilliant secretary.
I will give him that though, I am bloody good at that.
I wasn't going to get a secretary. Yeah. They didn't promote the idea that girls could be engineers. We were just kind of like, it was the 1970s, you were meant to get married and have children. For goodness sake, not even all men are engineers, so why should it be gender biased that all women are secretaries? I don't know. Yeah, it was belittling a lot of the time.
There's still some areas of improvement, and A friend of mine at school was actually mentioning this. Her dad ran a company and she was the manager of these two guys, and they didn't like that A, she was younger than them, and B, she was female. And this was actually recently, so there are some people that still have that narrow-minded view. And then I think her father at the time sat her down with these two guys, and I think they're actually saying, why have you hired a female? A female's not being my manager. So there's still views like that are still going around today. So we still got a little bit of work to do, but unfortunately those are just the minds of some people, and you can't change people's opinions.
You know what the pure arrogance is that most of these men, 100 years ago, they wouldn't have had any more skills than a woman.
Yeah.
Because 100 years ago, unless you were wealthy and had property, you did not get the vote. You know, you were slave labour. So, do you think that maybe growing up in the 21st century was a bit easier than growing up in the 1970s?
Yes, there was kind of the expectation to have children and get married. I still have those expectations put on me. Like me and my boyfriend, it begs the question, oh, so when are you getting married? That's always one of the first questions that comes out of their mouths. When are you getting married? When you're having children? It's oh, blimey, I haven't even thought about that yet. As little as only, 100 years ago, girls weren't educated much beyond you be a maid or something, or you be a cleaner, or you be providing in the kitchen more. Whereas nowadays, there's definitely a lot more opportunities for women, and as I mentioned earlier, there's more demand for women in jobs such as engineering. Whereas those opportunities, as you were saying earlier, probably wouldn't have been around in your time. Or there would have been a certain stereotype, if you're an engineer, oh, she's obviously gay, she wants to hang out with the guys, she obviously likes women because she's hanging out with all the blokes. Well, no, it's just because I've got good skills to be an engineer, and I'm clever, and I can do it.
You know what I think the problem is? I think the women are caught between trying to be this independent woman, growing up smart, and then still trying to be the perfect woman for every man in the room. I mean, if you think about it, social etiquette tells us that we should maybe wear a hat to church, or a dress to church, or we've got to cover our shoulders at the office, or or we've got to wear high heel shoes at certain times, which to my point, my poor feet, high heel shoes.
Yeah, I know.
To be perfectly honest with you, it's ridiculous. They're either telling us to wear too much, they're telling us to wear clothes down to here, or they're telling us to wear a bikini because we're wearing clothes down to there.
Yeah.
And when we wear them either way, it doesn't matter, down to there or up to here with nothing on, and yet still, I could be in a nun's habit and people will rape me.
Yeah. I think you're right. I won't say all men. I'll say some men think that they have the right to dictate to us what we should and shouldn't wear. The thing that I find is that, women, we dress for ourselves. I can't stand it, and there's still allegations against women. If a girl walks down the street and heaven forbid she's wearing shorts, and then she either gets catcalled or she gets sexually assaulted, and then some men will be like, oh, she was asking for it because she was overexposed. No, we're not asking for the unwanted attention. We're dressing for ourselves because it's bloody hot outside.
Yeah.
In no way am I asking you to come over and be like, oh, hey lady. Although saying that, I do have to question, and especially with younger girls, in terms of their parents, and again, argue with me on this point because I feel that any woman, whatever age, should be able to wear what they like, but then again, should it also be the parents' responsibility to sort of advise to their daughters what they should wear out? Maybe you are going out a little bit too exposed on a night out. I don't know.
Here's the thing, my mother always said to me, less is more, Tracy, but that doesn't necessarily apply to clothes.
Yes.
As for high heels, I remember back in the day, as a friend of mine, those wedgies were big in fashion in the 70s. And me and my third friend went down to shop to get some, and I was quite sensible, considering I'm a twit sometimes. But she had gone and got these 3-inch heel wedgies, and we're halfway home, and she is freaking crippled. And I'm the one who has to run down in my new high heel wedgies, which were a little bit shorter, to find her father and say, come, pick up your child, take us home.
Pick her up. She can't go any further. This is something that I've been noticing that's trending on social media. Should we or should we not vaccinate our children. And here's a question. Did you have all of your childhood injections when you were a kid?
To vaccinate or not to vaccinate? That is the question. My mum was quite a germaphobe.
Oh, really?
So, and you know, good mum, she's like, when I had the mumps and the measles jab, although I got the mumps. Yeah, I had a TB shot when I fell out of a tree. I mean, I didn't have any allergies to the vaccinations. I'm more allergic to the medication for the illnesses, you know, because the medicine will kill me. Even as a mom myself, I made sure Russell had some vaccinations. But I think the problem is that I think we have too many vaccines, and a lot of the stuff, people are allergic to so much stuff, you know. And you don't know what's in these vaccines, and I think biologically and genetically speaking, even the medical industry knows that one vaccine isn't a one-size-fits-all for anything. You know, what doesn't affect one child is going to affect another. However, that brings a whole other logistical problem that you've got everybody's genetics out there, you know, and privacy is an issue too, so.
But, like, the thing is with me, I hate injections. Like, I really don't like the feel of them. I don't like the whole piercing into the skin. I don't like the feeling of the liquid going inside. You ever get that when you can actually feel the liquid going inside your flesh? Like, needles I'm just not good with for some reason, and I go all tense, which is the thing you're not meant to do, is tense up, because it's gonna freaking hurt. You're meant to be relaxed, and like, even when I gave blood the one time, it was in, I think it was with the National Health Service, they had, the trailers that you would go to, they had designated trailers at different locations, and I went to one near my house and I gave blood, and I just reacted so badly to it. I went as white as a piece of paper, and my mother at the time, she was like, "You're never giving blood again, you're not doing that again," because I came out of the trailer and I was like, whoa. I saved someone's life, so I guess that's a good thing. But yeah, it's you know, I guess I'd make a terrible drug addict, wouldn't I?
Yeah, you mean clothes.
Like, keep that thing away from me.
But, I mean, you know, we've got to also consider that the more we kind of, like, have these vaccines to cure all these bits and pieces, a bit like our superbugs, we're killing ourselves gently with antibacterial soap because of all the superbugs that are being created as well. So, kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't almost, but there you go.
Well, on that note, join us again next time. My name is Alana.
And I'm Tracey. Bye!
We'll see you next time. Au revoir.
Give it up.